Hey, good morning and welcome back to Facts class. Today my students are going to learn knife safety and they're going to practice by helping me put together a great chicken and dumpling recipe. So the first thing I'm going to have my students do is they're going to each get a piece of chicken. This is just a rotisserie chicken. We're going to peel the skin off. And then with a chef's knife, I'm going to have my students cube the chicken. If there's a little bit of skin, it's okay. And just make cubes for the chicken and dumplings. And then they're gonna come up, put it into the bowl. Everybody's gonna put lots of chicken in here and we're gonna make a great big thing of soup. Did you notice that I'm cutting on a supply tray with my red cutting board, and this is to get used to cooking and cutting with a separate cutting board than what we're gonna do with the vegetables. So I'm gonna set that aside in my sink, and keep in mind that you want to have your knives not in the soapy water. If you have a cutting board that moves around, put a wet rag underneath of it. This is a pretty steady cutting board, so I'm in good shape with that. All right, the next ingredient that the students are going to work with are some red new potatoes, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to use a clean knife. I could go ahead and use the same knife that I used for the chicken because the chicken is cooked, but just for safety's sake, let's use a new knife. When I'm using my knife, I want to pinch the edges so I can maintain a little bit more control. And I'm simply going to cube these potatoes. I'm going to stick them over here, and then I'm actually going to put some cold water in that container in just a second so the potatoes don't turn brown. All right, the next ingredient they're going to work with is a head of garlic. So you're going to take your garlic and you're going to give it a whack. And then these will release garlic bulbs. So take 2 or 3 garlic bulbs. And you hear that rustle, it's almost like a little bit of paper on the garlic. So take your chef's knife and you're gonna give it a schwack, another schwack. Remove the paper. It's not really paper, but it feels like it's paper on the garlic. And then there's 2 ugly eyeballs on the garlic. So take your knife, remove the ugly eyeballs from your garlic, set it off to the side, and I would press it just a little bit more. This is called pulverizing, actually. And then I'm going to mince, and that means cut into tiny, tiny pieces. And then when I'm done, I'm going to have the garlic go into a little plastic container. So when we need garlic, we have it all ready to go. And this stuff is much better than the stuff you buy in a jar. Just smell it, and when you taste it, you'll understand. All right, set that aside for now. Then we have an onion. Now the onion is roly-poly, so be really careful. What you want to do to get to safety is get the onion to not move around. So the best way to do it is to cut it in half first. Once it's cut in half, just take 1/2 of your onion. You're going to remove the ends. Notice I'm bear clawing my fingers. And again, like the garlic has sort of a paper on it, remove the papery texture. And I would remove 1 or 2 layers of onion. If I need to clean my cutting board, what I don't want to do is scrape on the sharp side of my knife. But the knife comes in really handy for cleaning my cutting board. But I don't want to dull the knife, so I use the back side of the knife. And you can see I have a trash can really close by. What my students have is a trash bowl, so they don't have to keep running back and forth to a trash can. With a flat hand, I'm going to make several slits through the onion. Notice my hand is up. My cutting board's pretty stable. And now I'm going to almost cut to the very edge of the onion, but not quite, because I want the onion to stay together. Keeping those fingers out of the way. You guys all know my story about cutting my finger off during a demonstration. It was one of my better moments of teaching. All right, and then I'm gonna come about 1/2 inch each time, so I have the same size onion pieces. I don't want big chunks of onion in this soup. What we're gonna do with the onions, the celery, and the garlic, we're gonna make the base of the soup, which is gonna be delicious. All right, so there's your onion. You guys will come up and the students will come up and put all their onion pieces collectively in here. And next time we have a recipe that requires chopped onions, we'll go ahead and use those chopped onions. Maybe we'll freeze some. All right, on to the carrot. The carrot scares me when middle schoolers practice this one because it can be a little dangerous. The first thing my students are going to do is they're going to peel the carrot, which you think would be pretty simple, but when you hand middle schoolers a peeler and a carrot, strange things happen. They sometimes hurt themselves, and a lot of them have never even worked with a peeler before. All right, so we're going to peel the carrot. Put all your scraps into the trash can. If you're a good person, you're composting. You guys can, the students usually use their trash bowls, like I said. Bear claw your fingers. Let's get rid of the two ends. Let's get the carrot cut in half. So just like the onion, it was rolling around. I want to make sure it's not rolling around so I can get to safety. I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to work with the flat part of the onion. So get to that point. And you always want to have a cutting board that's clear of clutter. All right, we're going to make strips. And you could stop there and eat your carrot. Or, what you're supposed to be doing, is doing chops, real small chops, probably the same size as the onion, for our soup, for our chicken and dumplings. Okay. If you go back and you're like, oh my goodness, my shapes don't match, there's nothing to say that you can't go back and give it a better chop. Okay? All right, into the bowl. Then I have some celery. So I'm going to take the ends of my celery. Don't need those, discard those. And I'm going to go down the middle, bear claw again. And do a nice chop. And remember, my chop needs to be the same size as my carrot, my onions, so everything's consistent. Even my chicken could be a little bit smaller if I want to go that route. But nice bite-sized pieces. Good chop of celery. And notice that I'm using the back of the knife more than the front. I don't want to hear it. Okay? You should be kind of rolling with the cuts. All right, this takes practice. Soon we'll be having some great chicken and dumplings.